Well, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. It is a privilege to join you for this great event. On behalf of Secretary McMahon and the Trump administration, congratulations. We look forward to seeing the University of Iowa's Center for Intellectual Freedom become a model for the country, an example of what happens when an American university takes seriously its highest calling to pursue the truth without intimidation, without exclusion, and without apology. I want to congratulate the many Iowa leaders who helped make this day possible. Governor Reynolds, thank you so much for your courageous leadership in Iowa. Both on the scene and behind the scenes, you made this center possible, and we are deeply grateful for that. Governor and Ambassador Terry Branstad, whose early support helped to bring legislators along, and his testimony in the legislature was also very important. Speaker Pat Grassley, who created the Higher Education Committee and had the wisdom to appoint Taylor Collins as chair. Senator Lynn Evans, you know, there have been several higher education bills that got through the House, did not get through the Senate. Well, that changed with Senator Evans, and his leadership of the Education Committee has led to significant change and improvement in higher ed in Iowa. Thank you. Representative Taylor Collins, what can I say? A great leader in the House who has made an enormous difference in higher education. He's become an expert on higher education policy. Very young person, by the way, right? Who is his leadership at his age is unbelievable, and he has made just enormous change in higher ed. And we have other young legislators who are making a huge difference in Iowa. Austin Harris, who chaired the Education Appropriations Committee in the House. He got us the money to do this. He got us the real estate on campus for a great headquarters. Great work on his part. Carter Nordman, who's also worked on higher education policy. These guys are in their 20s, all right, you should know, and are leading Iowa and making a huge difference. And many others who I hate giving names because then I'm going to leave someone out, but Carrie Grunhagen, Steve Holt, Jesse Green, Dan Gelbach, Skylar Wheeler, many others who made this possible. Regent Chris Hensley, who Governor, thank you for appointing Chris Hensley to the Board of Regents. She's made a huge difference and led on creating the center from the beginning, and we really appreciate that. Robert Kramer, thank you for being here, and I look forward to your leadership on the Board of Regents. What a bold appointment when Governor Reynolds put you on the Board of Regents, and we are looking forward to what you do. And you've been here the whole time, taking a lot of notes, and really appreciate that very much. Director Luciano De Castro, from that first phone call from Washington, D.C., when we first talked about this center, you've had an incredible vision for this center. And that vision has been a center that excels in teaching, research, and public outreach. It will be a beacon of sanity in a crazy academic world. Also want to thank the members of the Advisory Council. You will work hard for no pay and probably receive more criticism than praise. It's hard for me to express how grateful I am for your willingness to serve. The Trump administration believes that intellectual diversity is not a partisan aspiration. It is a civic necessity. A university cannot fulfill its public mission if only one set of ideas is heard, only one political perspective is rewarded, or if students feel that expressing a dissenting view could cost them a grade or a recommendation. I was criticized during my time on the Board of Regents for promoting intellectual diversity while opposing programs that attempted to manipulate the racial composition of the university. Why promote one kind of diversity and not another? Intellectual diversity is fundamentally different from racial diversity. Race is an immutable characteristic, and it is unfair and illegal to discriminate on a racial basis. Merit-based hiring and admissions give all students a fair chance to succeed. Race does not determine ideology. There are Black conservatives, white liberals, and everything in between. People of all races can change their minds when confronted with evidence that challenges their beliefs. And that process of evidence challenging or supporting beliefs essential to the scientific method and all academic inquiry is the very foundation of a university. Debate, experimentation, and rigorous analysis all involve competition of ideas, which is impossible without a diversity of ideas to test and compete against each other. But unfortunately, many universities have stifled debate and created a monoculture of ideas. Peer-reviewed research shows a huge imbalance between left and right on university faculties, and my own analysis of Iowa voting registration data and classroom reading assignments shows a shocking dearth of conservative thought. And you can do this at home. What I did, I just went down to the basement of the university bookstore, took pictures of the bookshelves, fed those pictures into ChatGPT, said, identify all these books and tell me their political orientation. What I found here, just across the street at the bookstore, was that of the books with a political orientation, 95% of them leaned left. We need more intellectual diversity. This intellectual monoculture can also allow bad research to be published and to fulfill tenure requirements for professors. I discovered a shocking example of this when I investigated public research on the effect of climate on economic growth, where researchers prioritized politically correct research, not scientific truth. And that research did not come out of Iowa. It came out of Harvard, MIT, the Federal Reserve, Northwestern, many very prestigious places. There is also too often a lack of intellectual diversity in university governance. A desire for consensus can stifle debate and weaken oversight. Universities work hard to tame their regents and avoid hard questions. A great deal of effort goes into creating what has been called the potty-trained regent, who cheers for the university at football games and at regent meetings, but doesn't meddle in university affairs. Lack of oversight allows overspending on administration and amenities, which raises tuition fueled by subsidized student loans. As Secretary McMahon put it at a White House event recently, universities have become education theme parks, where entertainment and comfort take priority over achievement and rigor. We do not need a lazy river in the wellness center here in Iowa City, and we do not need an $80 million renovation of the student union. Our former students are burdened by debt to finance projects like these. As a regent, I voted against multi-million-dollar projects that I considered unnecessary and wasteful. But after one of those votes, I was promptly removed from the board's Property and Facilities Committee, taking me out of discussions of future projects. Now, I might have been right, I might have been wrong on that particular issue, but I think silencing debate in that way is not the right way to bring about good governance. Now, there have been university monocultures throughout history. I think an interesting example took place in France in the 1960s and 1970s. A new university was quickly built after the student demonstrations of 1968 in a forest preserve outside of Paris. And it became an ungovernable liberal bastion, a haven for radical Marxist, communist, and Maoist professors that abandoned academic and financial standards and valued political agitation over balanced scholarship. The situation was so serious that the French government decided that the new university had to be extinguished. During the summer break in 1980, in the middle of the night, government bulldozers quickly demolished the entire campus, leaving no trace. And today, that site is a forest again. Now, no. So no one is suggesting measures like these today. No, many great things happen at American universities. And I remember learning how to solve differential equations in McLean Hall, right across the way here during the summer of 1981. It sounds funny, but that was one of the greatest joys that I had at the university. University of Iowa researchers cure diseases, restore sight, support national defense, invent new technologies, and encourage young entrepreneurs. It is a subset of our universities that has gone off the rails, although that subset is making inroads into the rest of the university. Reform of that subset won't be easy, but it can be done, particularly in states like Iowa, where the state government actually cares about making higher education great again. We can reform universities without giving up on the humanities and the social sciences, as this center shows. The center we are inaugurating today will begin to provide much needed balance to the University of Iowa. Iowa is leading the way. Thank you, and congratulations again on this important achievement.